Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my CSS animations mini-series. Now in this video we're going to be going over custom animation timing. Now what that basically is it is mainly in CSS at least one property that is called the Bezier curve. Now a Bezier curve is basically kind of a simple graph that goes from, if you know math, goes from like 1 point like at the origin usually to 1, 1, I believe, or it just goes from one point to another, and the curve shape kind of denotes how an animation plays. So I think the best way to kind of demonstrate this is to just show you using an example. So Bezier curve, and it's actually called a cubic Bezier curve, the one that we use for CSS. Now, if you search that up, you should get this website, cubic-bezier, right here, and it lets you compare different curves. So for example, this linear right here is the default. So look at this linear, this blue one right here. It goes from one end to the other uniformly. And I'm going to uniform both of these. There we go. So watch. So if I hit go here, notice both go from one end to the other at a constant speed. And that's what's called a linear Bezier curve. Now, for example, in our CSS, when we use ease out, it looks like this. Or let me show you ease out as this. This is the ease out. So this is what the ease out curve looks like. It looks like this. So notice it goes sharply up, or somewhat sharply up, and then it slows down at the end. And that is what the ease out function looks like. It looks like this. It goes fast at the beginning and then it slows down towards the end. Same thing with the ease function, or the ease in out, or the ease in. You know, they all have their own separate kind of properties here. So this is the ease in out function. It goes slowly at the beginning and slowly at the end. So you see it goes slow and then speeds up and then goes slow again. So that's basically what Bezier curves do for our CSS animation. Now, actually what you can do is in this editor here, you can grab and drag and edit the curve itself. So let's see, let's try to maybe do something where like it goes really fast at the beginning, but then it really slows down at the end. So something a little bit like this. So it goes really fast at the beginning and then it slows down. So look at that, it goes really fast, and then it slows down really slowly for the end. And notice even though that these shapes are completely different, they both hit the end at roughly the same time, or exactly the same time, because the curve will always hit the end at the same time as any other curve. So that's what happens. And if we wanted to make it go really slow and then speed really fast towards the end, we could do that, and then it just speeds up right at the end. So we can actually play around with both of these kind of dots here to change the shape of the curve itself. And one cool thing that you can actually do is you can make the curves go above the top. And what happens when they do that is they shoot above. So watch this. It'll actually shoot, notice it shot past the end briefly. And if we move it here, for example, or move it there, it'll stay here at the end. It'll go past and then it'll go backwards. So that's a cool thing about Bezier curves, is it allows us to change kind of the speed and the exaggeration of our animation. So you may be wondering how we can actually use this in our code. So I'm going to go ahead and show that. But first I'm going to check this off. So let's go ahead and start by opening up our index.html and starting our live server, just to kind of get a baseline. So this is what we're left with on the last episode. I believe, let's see here. Yeah, it's just the 3-second delay, and it goes infinitely and flies in. What I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove this animation and all of this animation here so that the H1 has no animation, and the P, I'm going to uncomment, but I'm going to remove the animation. So the P and H1 both have no animation currently. Now what we can do is, for example, for fly and left, if we wanted to give, or actually I'm going to recomment out the P because we're not going to use it for now. But if we wanted to make our H fly and left, remember we have animation, and then we have all properties. We have the duration, which is going to be 2 seconds. And then we have our easing function, I believe. See, I don't perfectly remember the order. Yeah, we have the timing function. So actually what we could do is, let's say we wanted this timing function. You see the pink here that goes past and then shoots back? Well, we can actually grab or click to copy, and it is these 4 numbers here. And instead of saying ease, or instead of saying linear, we can actually just paste this in, cubic-bezier with those 4 numbers, and then delay 0 seconds, and then we want it to go 1 iteration, and that's it. So let me just save this and watch what happens. I save, and then let me make sure I didn't mess that up. Might have made a small mistake. Let me just see what I did wrong. Oh, my bad. I forgot to specify fly and left as the animation. And I put all on accident because I think I got mixed up with transitions. But let me just quickly specify fly and left, and we just save this and watch what happens. So the hello world will spin all the way around, and then it will go faster or go farther and then spin back. And actually, let's go ahead and just remove the rotate so it's an actual fly and left animation like we intended. And just like that, it starts from the left and then it flies in. But notice it overshoots slightly and then it flies back. So that's basically the Bezier curve that we specified here, because remember, it starts here, it shoots up, it goes past, and then it comes back down to its final resting point, which is exactly what we kind of wanted. Now, that's all cool. Now, I think this is like kind of a little underwhelming, so I think the best way for me to show you is to make a cube animation. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove all of this, and we're going to put a div in here, and let's just put a simple div in there, and we're just going to remove all of this and actually let's start from scratch really quick. So we're going to add some styling to the div, and then we're going to create a keyframe. This is some good practice. Create a keyframe called pop, and then like that. And at 0% at the beginning of the pop animation, we want transform scale 0. So we want it to be invisible. And then at the 100%, it will be transform scale 1. And what that just means is it will go from 0 scale, and then it will slowly get bigger until it's at its regular size. So for example, if we give our div a width of 500 pixels, a height of 500 pixels, and a background color of red. If I save this, oh, that's a little bit big and a little bit jarring. Let's make that smaller. There we go. And let's make it blue instead, because yeah, red's not, or maybe make it purple or something. I don't know. The color does not really matter that much. Let's just go with a lighter blue. There we go. That might be a little bit too light. Let's find something. You know what, we'll just go with regular blue. And also I noticed my keyboard might be a bit small, or my stuff, so I'm going to upsize my entire UI a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see. And I'll probably keep it at this size from now on. So we have our keyframes here for pop, and we have the base state for our square, or for our square. So what we're going to do is we are going to add the animation. So animation, pop. We want it to maybe take 1 second to pop in. Trying to remember. Yeah, we're going to want our, let's do linear to show you what it looks like. So for the easing function, we will use linear, and I'll actually move this terminal here. Pop 1 second linear, let me, yeah, and then 0 second delay, and then we want it to go 1 time. So let's just save that, and this is what it looks like. So literally, there is no kind of delay. It just goes from small to big, all like at a constant speed. And it may be looking like it's lagging a little bit. That just might be the computer itself that's lagging a little bit. But overall, the square is getting from infinitely small to just its regular size in 1 second. Now, that kind of looks okay, but really, if you want to make it a pop animation, it should be going faster at the beginning, and then it should slow down towards the end. So for example, something like an ease would be a good baseline, like that, except I would think it wants to go faster first, and then maybe settle in. Let's just see what this looks like. So let's copy the cubic-bezier, and instead of using a linear here, let's just paste in that, and watch what happens. So So yeah, it goes faster at the beginning and then it stops right at the end. Now, I think for a pop animation, we might want it to go above temporarily, get like a little bit bigger than it should be, and then shrink back down to its intended size. So that's one way to do it. Let's just replace this cubic bezier with the new one that we just copied and paste. And look what happens now. So it kind of like gets bigger and then shrinks, although that's kind of, I kind of want it to shrink closer to the end, so maybe we'll try this cubic bezier. And then let's just paste it in like that, and let's see what this looks like. And I think the main problem is the duration is too long, so let's make it 0.5 seconds. And then let's maybe make it like that shape. And then we're just going to reduce the duration to make the animation look faster. So that's the overall shape we want for the cubic bezier. And look at that, we have a somewhat poppy animation kind of. And if we lower the duration like that, it can pop in like that. So it slightly temporarily gets bigger, then it shrinks back down to its intended size. So that's like a pop-in animation. And if we wanted to just make a little cool thing, let's just go div, and so we have 3 divs here. And notice, yeah, all 3 kind of pop in like that. But we actually could, what we could do is we could give this div an ID of 1, or my bad, an ID of 3 for this one, an ID of 2 for this one, an ID of 1 for this one, for example. Oops. And if we come here to our CSS and we actually select 1, select the ID of 2, and select the ID of 3, and we can each basically set the animation delay to 0 seconds for the first one. We could set it to 0.3 seconds for the second one, and then we could set it to 0.6 seconds for the third one. And as you can see, it should not have, I think I made a tiny mistake here. Let's quickly figure out what happened. Let me remove these 2 maybe. ID is 1, ID is 2, ID is 3. And then here in our, oh my bad. No, that's actually, oh, I'm not sure if I can use numbers. So I'll just use A, B, and C. That might be why. So we will select A, B, and C, and watch what happens when I save this. So what happens is it pops in the first one, second, and third, but you know, it's a little bit broken because these 2 start here. So no worry, we can actually use the animation, I forgot what it's called, the fill mode or the animation direction, my bad, or it might be fill mode, as both. There we go. So basically, using animation fill mode as I think forwards works, or no, it's backwards. You could either use backwards or you could use both. Both kind of adapts if you remember from the previous video. But what this animation fill mode does is it actually, notice it starts these other 2 cubes out as the end of the animation. So the animation has already ended, or I mean, it starts the 2 cubes out so that they don't show at the beginning. Because without this, the cubes by default start at their kind of ending position, but using fill mode both or fill mode backwards, they will start at their beginning position, aka when their scale is 0, so they won't show up. And that's just a kind of way to improve the visual effect. And you know, if we wanted to like, you know, get really kind of fancy with the different divs, you know, this isn't really the way you would do this. But this is one way just to kind of do a quick little demonstration. So let's say I made the timing 1.1 seconds, then we could do 0.1, 0.2, and then let's just copy like that, 0.3 and 0.4, just like that and like that. And watch what happens when I save. They kind of pop, like fill in from the top, just like that. So, you know, that's the kind of foundation of creating cool little animations. And I guess I took away a little bit from the focus of this video, which was this cubic bezier kind of thing. And it really is cool because you can create all sorts of little weird things. Like if we wanted to use this cubic bezier, let's see what would happen. I think it it wouldn't exactly work because you can't go to negative scale. Well, you can, but let's see what this ends up looking like. Huh. So yeah, it looks really weird, but you know, you can mess around with the various kind of cubic Bezier things. Like if we wanted to make it like this, then we could do that and paste in the new one, and we can make any timing function we want with this. So this makes it like this, which you might like the look of this more. I don't know. It's really up to you. So that's pretty much all I had to cover in this video. Let me go ahead and quickly check off that last box. So in the next video, we will be finally going over everything we've learned throughout this tutorial, or throughout this tutorial mini-series, and we will be creating a simple kind of homepage with some animation on it. If you want to see that, and if you missed the previous videos in this mini-series, you can check out the playlist, which is linked in the description. I've been uploading daily. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.